All right, and we back. Gonna talk a little bit about the NBA. NBA playoffs are about to start. This is the best time of the year for basketball fans. However, if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, this is actually not the best time of the year. You might question whether Kevin Durant has played his last game as a member of the Phoenix Suns. 4 games will remain on Phoenix's schedule once Kevin Durant comes back from his injury. The Suns obviously are in the play-in chase. Coupled with Kevin Durant being an absolute stud means that he will probably play those games. But Kevin Durant is not going to be a member of the Phoenix Suns next year. If he is, I would be shocked. He has 1 year left on his contract, and he will have plenty of say when he winds up. I wonder, and I'm going to make this video dedicating this entire video to landing spots. I'm going to give you 5 landing spots where I think Kevin Durant would be a big piece, a good fit, and I'm going to rank them in order from worst to first. The first spot would be in New York. Right now, the Knicks are a true title contender with Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't personally think this move raises their ceiling at all. I think it's a lateral move to me. But I think this is a move that would either be the Knicks wanting to get out of the Karl-Anthony Towns or the Suns really wanting to get Karl-Anthony Towns. To me, that's the salary that would have to be moved for Kevin Durant. Obviously, you could move other salaries. You could move Jalen Brunson. You're not doing that. If you're keeping Cat, OG Anunoby is too pivotal to me. And to me, the optics of rerouting Mikal Bridges after you just mortgage the farm to get him for a 37-year-old, not the best. He's not exactly what New York needs, right? He's not the perfect fit, but he is a more bankable second option next to Jalen Brunson. Obviously, Anunoby and Bridges have leveled up in Jalen Brunson's absence, but this is still a team that ranks less in the bottom half, I think 19th, and half-court efficiency during that span. But if you sub out Towns for Durant, it also helps the defense if New York believes Mitchell Robinson can stay healthy, and that is a big if. And if it has the assets to go get a more durable defensive-minded big. Framed like this, obviously the Knicks' potential interest in Kevin Durant is a little less far-fetched than it may seem. Would they be willing to make a blow-up 1 year into the Cat experience? And is he enough to get KD, right? Those are 2 different questions. But I think New York would be an interesting fit. At 4, I want to talk about Oklahoma City. Right now, Oklahoma City is a true title contender, in part because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is in the conversation, if not the best player in the world. This would give them a true second superstar to where they wouldn't have to rely so heavily on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? The reunion aspect is cool. The Thunder aren't an organization that acts very impulsively or rashly, nor do they really need KD, right? They might win the whole thing this year. But to me, any interest in this offseason is completely contingent on the fact that the Thunder have a short playoff run dependent on their offense being stagnant, malignant, short-circuited, whatever you want to say. It's not outside the realm of possibility, but it is very less likely to happen this year than it was last year. But Durant is obviously one of the most plug-and-play superstars in league history. This wouldn't derail Shai, Jay Will, or Chet Holmgren. They have the most draft picks and room beneath the luxury tax to make this happen without getting rid of too much of the rotation. Salary-wise, it would probably just take like Isaiah Joe and Isaiah Hartenstein. They can sub in Aaron Wiggins for Isaiah Joe and add another smaller salary. Attaching draft capital to that would be what the Suns are looking for. This can be a 2 or 3 for 1, and to me, if the Thunder, this would be much higher if the Thunder really needed KD, or if they felt like they were one piece away. But the Thunder are in championship contention right now. The third team is a team you're going to hear the name, and you're going to have to let me finish. Otherwise, you're going to just shit on me, right? I want to talk about the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, Kevin Durant vetoed a trade back to the Golden State Warriors, in which the Warriors then went and got Jimmy Butler. However, during an appearance on the Draymond Green show with Baron Davis, KD essentially said that it was more about the midseason timing than the idea of a reunion itself. That, to me, opens the door for Golden State to reopen talks with Phoenix. Now, reopening that door is complicated, right? It gets easier if the Suns want Butler and the Warriors do prefer Durant to him. That's not impossible to accommodate should they believe they can replace Jimmy Butler's playmaking, his rim pressure, and foul drawing through KD and Jonathan Kuminga. They would miss Butler's defense, but fewer redundancies between Durant and Kuminga could elevate the offense to a level to where it hasn't been in a while. Or they could look to build a package around Draymond Green. Obviously, him and Ishbia, the Suns owner, are both from Michigan. Devin Booker is next to a playmaking big, is something we haven't really seen. And Draymond Green is good enough to anchor a defense. The rest of the packages are tough, but you have to include Buddy Hield. You don't really want to give up Moses Moody, especially because in this scenario, him and Jimmy Butler are even more important to the defense. They would probably need the Suns or a third team to be interested in a Kuminga sign-and trade if they wanted to do this trade while keeping Butler. Number 2, a team that would love KD because of one player would be the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think right now the Knicks are already title contenders. The Thunder are already title contenders. The Warriors are not. They're a champ. They're a playoff team for sure. I don't think they're a true title contender. The addition of Kevin Durant would elevate them back to that title. Same with this team. The Minnesota Timberwolves have a bona fide superstar in Anthony Edwards. And they were one of the teams that made an 11th hour push for someone like Kevin Durant. No reason not to think they won't revisit that, right? They are inside the top 10 in points per possession on the season. However, the offense feels very fragile, glass house-ish. There's in any given game, it can suffer from lack of playmaking, decision-making, and the offense really isn't that dynamic. It relies a lot on Ant in his decision-making. Unless they get a true floor general or Rob Dillingham stepping into that role, the scalability of Kevin Durant's shooting and scoring provides more than enough cover along Ant. And obviously, Ant would love to play with KD. And for the Timberwolves, it's a lot easier over the offseason as well. Right now, their only tradable first-round pick is this year's Detroit Pistons pick, but they won't be constrained by second apron limitations during the offseason. Julius Randle picking up his player option is the most logical starting point. That's where I would start. Obviously, things change if he heads into free agency or Phoenix doesn't want that and Minnesota's unable to get a third team. Even then, if you really want to make it happen, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid are able to give up 2 of those in terms of just for the salaries. Is that even enough to get the Suns to say yes? Or unless something changes in the playoffs, unless something changes in the playoffs, Minnesota should really want KD because that would, to me, elevate them into a true championship contender. And finally, Houston. I think Houston is one of those teams right now, and I'm not saying that they won't, the players on said team will not continue to develop, but the Houston Rockets to me seem like a team that is overachieving due to the sum being greater than the total sum of the parts. They don't have a true superstar, and in the West, you're going to see that get taken advantage of. However, Kevin Durant would make them a true playoff threat. I don't know if it makes them a title contender, but I definitely think it makes them a threat. At the end of the day, Houston controls 3 of the next 4 Phoenix first-round picks, making it a natural trade partner. And obviously the Suns have been hesitant to rebuild, and the owner says he doesn't care about the draft picks, but they don't have their own first-round draft pick or the control over it till 2032. And that's if it doesn't move to 30 as the second apron. The Rockets also have intriguing salaries and youngsters, right? Jalen Green or Alperen Sengun could be the primary outgoing money. You can pick up Fred VanVleet and use him as the salary. It doesn't hurt that Durant and Udoka really seem to respect each other. To me, the Rockets, and whether they are chasing a true superstar like Kevin Durant, and it will completely depend on this postseason run. They're legitimately a bottom 10 offensive team, and getting Durant would help that so much. But if they win a series or 2 and prefer to hold their assets for Devin Booker, I wouldn't be shocked if they did that. To me, I think the most logical one would actually be the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think he would fit in great there, especially if you can use Julius Randle for him, because then he slides. He's not the perfect Cat replacement, but he's a great Cat replacement. Again, that's my personal opinion. I think Kevin Durant is still a top-tier player, a top 15 player in basketball, a true superstar, and he would help elevate a lot of these teams. Some of them already in championship contenders or championship contention. Some of them would be elevated to that. Some of them would be true playoff threats or playoff contenders at this point. But at the end of the day, where do you think Kevin Durant's going to end up? Make sure to comment down below. Let me know what other videos you want to see me do. Make sure to like and subscribe. And YouTube thinks you're going to like this video. Find out if they're right.